4 rivers, 1 garden. A mystery that has haunted scholars for 3,000 years. Somewhere on this planet, hidden beneath layers of sand, water, and time, lies the most sought-after location in human history. A place so perfect it's been called paradise. A place mentioned in Jewish texts, Christian scriptures, and Islamic traditions. And the only clue we have to its location? 4 rivers. But here's what nobody tells you. 2 of those rivers, we know exactly where they are. You can visit them today. You can touch their waters. The other 2? They've vanished completely, as if they never existed. Welcome to one of archaeology's greatest unsolved mysteries. Open the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 10. There, written in ancient Hebrew thousands of years ago, is a geographic puzzle that has driven explorers mad. A river watering the garden flowed from Eden. From there it was separated into 4 headwaters. The name of the first is Pishon. The name of the second river is Gihon. The name of the third river is Tigris. And the 4th river is Euphrates. 4 names, 4 directions, 1 impossible problem. The Tigris and Euphrates we know. They're 2 of the most famous rivers in human history. They flow through modern-day Iraq, the cradle of civilization, the land between 2 rivers that the Greeks called Mesopotamia. You can book a flight there today. You can stand on their banks. But Pishon, Gihon, these rivers appear once in the entire Bible. And then, silence, as if someone erased them from history. For 3 millennia, scholars have asked the same question. If we can find these 4 rivers, can we find the Garden of Eden itself? The search has taken explorers to every corner of the earth. Some believed Pishon was the Nile. The ancient Jewish historian Josephus, writing in the 1st century, was convinced of it. The Nile, he reasoned, was massive, life-giving, and flowed through Egypt, a land known in ancient times for its gold. The description fit. Or did it? Others looked to India. Ancient Jewish translators called Pishon's land Hinki in Aramaic, meaning India. Could the Pishon be the Ganges or the Indus? These rivers, like the Nile, were ancient, sacred, and flowed through lands rich with treasure. The Gihon presented an even stranger puzzle. The text says it flowed around the whole land of Kush. To most ancient readers, Kush meant Ethiopia. So scholars pointed to Africa's Blue Nile, which indeed flows through Ethiopia, emerges from Lake Tana, and winds through the highlands before joining the White Nile in Sudan. But there's a problem, a geographical impossibility that makes this theory collapse under its own weight. If the Gihon is in Ethiopia, and the Pishon is in India or Egypt, and the Tigris and Euphrates are in Iraq, then where exactly was Eden? Was it some cosmic meeting point where rivers from 3 continents somehow converged? That's not how rivers work. Rivers don't jump continents. They follow gravity. They flow downhill from a source. Something doesn't add up. Then, in 1994, something extraordinary happened. An American geologist named Farouk El-Baz was studying satellite images of the Arabian Peninsula. Boston University had given him access to radar imaging technology that could see beneath the sand. And what he saw changed everything. There, hidden under the desert of Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, was a ghost. The dried bed of an ancient river system. A massive channel that once flowed from the mountains near Medina in western Saudi Arabia ran northeast through the desert and emptied into the Persian Gulf. Satellite photos revealed it all. The Wadi al-Batin system, a fossil river, dead for thousands of years, but once very much alive. Could this be Pishon? The location was perfect. The ancient text says Pishon winds through the entire land of Havilah, where there is gold. Havilah, scholars now believe, could be a region in northwestern Arabia. And here's the stunning detail. There is a place in Saudi Arabia called Mahd ad-Dahab. In Arabic, that means Cradle of Gold. It's an ancient gold mining site, one of the oldest in the world. The pieces were falling into place. But if Pishon was in Arabia, where was Gihon? Dr. Juris Zarins, an archaeologist from Missouri State University, had a theory that seemed insane at first. He proposed that Gihon wasn't the Nile at all. He suggested it was the Karun River in Iran. The Karun flows from the Zagros Mountains in western Iran and empties into the Persian Gulf in the same general area as the Tigris and Euphrates. But why would the text call its basin Kush if Kush meant Ethiopia? Here's where it gets interesting. The Bible mentions multiple places called Kush. And according to ancient records, there was an Asiatic Kush, the land of the Kassites, a people who lived in the mountains of Media, just south of where the Karun originates. Even the Greek historian Herodotus mentioned both an African and an Asian Ethiopia. The term Kush might not have been referring to Africa at all. Look at a map. If Pishon is the dried Wadi al-Batin in Arabia, if Gihon is the Karun in Iran, and we already know the Tigris and Euphrates flow through Iraq and Turkey, then all four rivers converge in one specific region, the head of the Persian Gulf. Not Turkey, not Egypt, not India, the Persian Gulf. But here's the twist that makes this even more mysterious. Geologists now know that during the last ice age, around 15,000 to 20,000 years ago, sea levels were dramatically lower than today. The Persian Gulf didn't exist as we know it. It was dry land, a massive river valley. And all four of these rivers, the Tigris, Euphrates, Karun, and the ancient Wadi al-Batin, would have flowed together through this valley, merging into one massive river system before emptying into the Indian Ocean. Then the ice melted. Sea levels rose, and the Persian Gulf was born, drowning that ancient river valley forever. The garden, if it was there, now lies under hundreds of feet of seawater. The biblical flood? Noah's deluge. Some scholars wonder if this story preserves a cultural memory of that catastrophic sea level rise. Ancient peoples watching their world drown as the oceans reclaimed the land. Is that why we can't find the rivers? Because they're gone? Erased not by time, but by water. What makes this mystery even more fascinating is that it's not just a biblical question. Islamic tradition also speaks of four rivers connected to paradise. During the Prophet Muhammad's night journey, the Mi'raj, he ascended through the heavens and witnessed four rivers flowing from beneath Sidrat al-Muntaha, the Lote tree at the boundary of the seventh heaven. When he asked the angel Gabriel about them, the angel replied that two were hidden rivers of paradise and two were visible rivers on earth, the Nile and the Euphrates. But other hadiths list different rivers. A hadith narrated by Abu Huraira states that Sayhan, Gihon, the Euphrates, and the Nile are all rivers of paradise. Sayhan and Gihon. These are the Sayhan and Ceyhan rivers in southern Turkey, flowing through Cilicia into the Mediterranean. Some traditions even include the Tigris, making 5 rivers total. What's striking is the overlap. The Euphrates appears in every version. It's the common thread connecting Jewish, Christian, and Islamic accounts. This river, still flowing through Iraq and Syria today, seems to be the anchor point. The one river everyone agrees came from paradise. Islamic scholars explain that these earthly rivers are considered among the rivers of paradise because of their freshness, their life-giving properties, and because prophets walked beside them and drank from their waters. But there's something else, something metaphysical. One interpretation suggests these rivers originated in paradise just as humanity did. They descended from the divine realm to the earthly realm, carrying with them a trace of the sacred. They're not just geographic features, they're bridges between worlds. So where can you go today if you want to see these rivers with your own eyes? The Euphrates is dying. Climate change, damming projects in Turkey, and decades of conflict have reduced what was once a mighty river to a shadow of itself. In some places, you can walk across its dried bed. Iraqi farmers watch helplessly as their fields turn to dust. Islamic tradition warns that the Euphrates will one day uncover a mountain of gold and people will fight over it. Some wonder if we're watching prophecy unfold. The Tigris still flows, but it's polluted, diminished. The two rivers that birthed civilization, that watered the hanging gardens of Babylon, that saw the rise and fall of empires, are fading. The Nile continues its eternal journey from the heart of Africa to the Mediterranean. It's been a river of life and death for millennia. Moses floated down its waters as an infant. Ancient pharaohs were buried along its banks. Today, over 100 million people depend on it for survival. The Karen in Iran flows mostly forgotten by the Western world, but it's Iran's largest river by volume, essential for agriculture and hydroelectric power. The Ceyhan and Gihon in Turkey. Most people have never heard of them, but they're there, flowing into the Mediterranean, carrying the snowmelt from the Taurus Mountains. And the Wadi al-Batin. It's a ghost, a memory, a dry channel cutting through the desert, visible only from space, revealing itself in satellite images like a message from the past. But there's one more theory, one more possibility that ties all of this together in an unexpected way. Some researchers have noticed that all of these potential Eden rivers have one thing in common. They're all connected to the Great Rift System. The Great Rift is a massive geological fracture that runs from Syria through the Jordan Valley, down through the Red Sea, and into East Africa. It's one of the Earth's most dramatic features, a place where the planet itself is splitting apart. The Tigris and Euphrates originate near this rift in Turkey. The Karun flows nearby. The Jordan River, though not one of the four named rivers, flows directly through the Rift Valley. And here's the fascinating detail. Scientists discovered that fish species in the Jordan River and African Rift Valley lakes are remarkably similar, suggesting these water systems were once connected. Could the original Eden have been somewhere along this rift system? Perhaps in Lebanon, in the highlands where rivers flow in multiple directions. Some biblical texts hint at this. The prophet Ezekiel places Eden in Lebanon. Ancient Sumerian texts speak of a garden of the gods in mountain sanctuaries in the Lebanon ranges. The search continues. No definitive answer, just clues, just fragments of an ancient memory. Maybe that's the point. Maybe we're not supposed to find it. There's a Jewish teaching that after humanity was expelled from Eden, God separated the garden from the earth entirely. It's no longer part of this physical realm. It exists somewhere else now, somewhere we can't reach until we're meant to return. Islamic tradition speaks of paradise as a future reality, not a past location. The Quran describes gardens as vast as the heavens and earth, with rivers of water, milk, wine, and honey flowing through them. Not the rivers we lost, the rivers we're promised. Christianity presents paradise as both lost and restored. The Garden of Eden at the beginning of the Bible and the New Jerusalem at the end, with the tree of life and the river of life flowing from God's throne. The story comes full circle. Perhaps the four rivers were never meant to be found. They were meant to be remembered, a reminder that humanity once lived in harmony with nature, with each other, with the divine, and a promise that such a place awaits again. So where is the Garden of Eden? Where are the four rivers? Under the Persian Gulf, drowned by rising seas 15,000 years ago? In the highlands of Lebanon, where rivers flow north, south, east, and west? In the metaphysical realm, beyond the reach of archaeology, or perhaps scattered? Perhaps Eden wasn't one place, but a memory of what the entire world once was before agriculture, before cities, before the first empire raised its walls and declared itself master. The four rivers still flow. Some are dying, some are hidden. Some have different names now, but they're there. The Euphrates cutting through Iraq, the Nile nourishing Egypt, rivers in Turkey, Iran, Arabia, all of them once called sacred. All of them connected to something we lost. And maybe that's the real mystery. Not where Eden was, but why we're still looking for it. We've built civilizations. We've split atoms. We've sent probes to the edge of the solar system, yet we still search for a garden we can't remember, guided by 4 rivers we can't quite find. Some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. They're meant to keep us searching, to remind us that there's more to this world than what we can measure and map. That somewhere in our collective memory, in our stories and sacred texts, in the very landscape of the earth itself, there are secrets still waiting. The 4 rivers of paradise. 2 we know. 2 we've lost. And one question that will never quite leave us alone. Where is Eden? The earth knows. The water remembers. But it's not telling. Not yet.